Happy Sunday. Nothing like a hot cup of tea. Hey gang, happy Sunday. I have some immediate technical issues, so I'm just going to double check that you can hear me. That's fine. I just updated some software that probably wasn't a sensible thing to do about 3 seconds before going live, but it happened and I've done it. Michelle, good morning. Mark, good morning. It is lovely to see you. Isn't it just gorgeous outside? It's fresh, it's invigorating. There's a little bit of kind of spunk about the weather. Yesterday, epic day, planted load of irises out of pots and dug over a big border and chucked a load of, hey Donna, hey Carol, lovely to see you, chucked a load of bark over it and mulched it, and then planted 4 bay trees, and I felt amazing. And this morning was so achy and tired in bed like a little squirrel. Imagine how a squirrel feels first thing in the morning after, I don't know, squirreling around in his nap and stuff, and I don't know, he's, hey Jill, lovely Jill. Hey Matthew, good to see you. Lovely Jill. I was going to text you this morning. Maybe we can have our chat now. Let's not. So if you imagine a squirrel squirreling around, like looking for his nuts, and he can't find them, so he goes on to find some more nuts, and he can't find them, and he thinks, I know I put them here somewhere. So he squirrels around, finds some more nuts, still can't find them. He's thinking, oh bloody hell! But there's 100 of them, right? So, and he can't find them. Imagine how tired he would feel after only finding 7 nuts, but digging over 100 holes looking for 100 nuts. That is how tired I felt yesterday and this morning. So I hope that gives you a sort of little bit of an idea. Anyway, so what have you been up to? Tell me. Tap, 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 tap. I want to know what you've been up to. I've been in Wales. If you've seen on Instagram, you've seen we went on an epic trip with Woody to chase waterfalls, found the most incredible waterfall. It was epic. There's tons of videos coming very soon on YouTube and on Instagram, so you will, I'm sure, absolutely love that. I've just forgotten to do something that I was going to do today, so won't be doing that. We'll do that next week. And then Kathy and I, lovely Kathy Slack, there is a brand new series of Roots, Wings and Other Things as a new show, a new YouTube show. We are very excited about that. We were filming for some of that this week, so I had to take all of the equipment out of here and put it in a different room, and then take it apart and put it back. And it's very boring. You don't need to know about that on a Sunday. Michelle says she's got a garden squirrel as opposed to a house squirrel. Like those people that have house rabbits. Isn't that a weird thing when you have house rabbits? A friend of mine had a house rabbit, and it was, I mean, epic. It was huge. She says our garden squirrel plays with her cats. Is that okay? How friendly do they play? When you say play, like play with teeth, or play as in, oh look, a ball, let's play. Like, you know, I don't know. Hey Sarah, lovely to see you. Good cake news, gang. So I've made Madeira cake. Madeira cake is so underrated. It's such a good cake with vanilla and lemon juice and lemon zest. And it is it's so good. I think it's the almonds. I look very pale today, don't I? Anyway. Yes, Carol, the incident with the clock and the cake. That's the thing. So what happened is Kathy made this amazing cake. Beautiful. Really unusual, with like thyme and sage and stuff in it. And she iced it, and we're all ready. And I went to plug in a cable, knocked off the clock, and the clock fell directly onto the cake and slid off straight away. And where the sharp edge of the clock landed on it, just wiped off like a little bit of icing. And then a bit landed on the rug, and I licked it all up. It was really lovely. Anyway, hey Stephen, good to see you. Watching from the greenhouse. Oh, do you know what? Kathy and I were talking about our favourite smells, and vine tomato as a smell. I can get it in candles and room sprays and stuff. Vine tomato, absolutely one of my favourite. It used to be my favourite candle to burn in the house. I just love it, and it instantly transports you into a greenhouse. And Stephen will know exactly what that smells like, because if you're doing stuff with pelargoniums, then you get that fresh, it's just such a unique smell, isn't it? That kind of fresh and, I don't know, earthy but slightly sweet, green smell. That's what it's like, a green smell. Sarah says cakes are the reason she's diabetic. Oh no. Cakes are normally the reason people are overweight, but not diabetic. But I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you can have less cake. Well, it sounds like you certainly do have less cake. I wonder if a diabetic, can you eat sugar? Not sugar. Wrong question. Stupid question. Can you eat honey? Or I know honey does spike diabetes, but is that easier for you? Or do you have to avoid all cake completely, in which case I feel a little bit bad. Maybe we could find a nice diabetic cake. This would be. I'll put this out of shot, really just for Sarah, because I sort of feel really bad that some of you with diabetes have to watch me eat all this cake. Anyway, what are you up to this weekend? I want to know. Tell me. I don't know why that thing's plugged in, because it doesn't seem to work, so I'll have to sort that out later. Whole of my life feels like that at the minute. As you move one thing out, a bit like Kerplunk. Do you remember Kerplunk? I used to love Kerplunk. My whole life feels like Kerplunk, where you move one tiny little bit and then the rest of it all just falls apart, or clatters around or something. Anyway, hang on, what's this? Cass says the smell of a wooden greenhouse and plants and earth makes me think of my granddad. Yeah, I love how there are really lovely nostalgic things that make you think of, you know, things in the past. And we were talking about just this thing as well the other day. Anyway, Jill says, we're going to text to say you had cake. I'm cool. Lovely Jill is my old neighbour. She's not that old. And she quilts. She makes the most amazing quilts. I tell you what, there should be. This is my big idea. Oh, I can't press my button. Hang on, wait. I'm having my big idea. I've got to do it a different way. I haven't done this for ages. Wait. There we go. This is my big idea. Right. Why don't we find a way to create a very subtle, very easy, because otherwise no one will do it, really, really easy way to, not like Neighbourhood Watch and not like some big community thing, but maybe just start with like 4 or 5 people on your street or near where you live, to bring them together, even virtually, or maybe it's just subtly, maybe it's not like a big dramatic, like hire a village hall thing or anything like that, but to build a community, and you can find out what people's skills and talents are and see if you could maybe share them and do some old-fashioned trading. Like maybe someone loves baking and you think, great, you bake me a cake for Christmas, I'm really good at quilting, I'll swap you a cake for like a new set of tea towels, or I don't know, something like that, like the good old-fashioned days. I'd love that. Maybe just, in fact, I might well do that, because next door to us, he has a half acre of this big sort of allotment area on his house plot, and they grow loads of different vegetables and fruits and stuff, and they're just now starting to grow flowers because his daughter and his wife have got really into flower arranging, and so they're going to do lots of flower arranging and lots of you know, wreaths and stuff like that. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for us to kind of swap, you know, fresh flowers for cake, I guess, or honey or whatever. So wouldn't that be super cute if you could find a way to have, you know, like a little community that you could build and where you looked out for each other? Because, you know, I often hear from older people who say that that's the most significant difference that they've found in life, in living, is that people are much more insular now. There's less of a community spirit. And we know it's possible because, like, during lockdown, we all did that, didn't we? We were desperate to spend time with bloody anybody. You see anybody, well, oh, there's a human being. Or those street parties and stuff that we had. I don't know, I think that would be really nice to kind of... Michelle's neighbour's teaching her to crochet. See, there you go. I mean, slightly pointless skill, but, you know, nonetheless, that's nice. Carol's just started sorting her seeds. Oh, my gosh. Oh, check this out. I have to show you this. This is epic. It's literally just here, so I can grab it. This is amazing. It's on one of the Roots, Wings and Other Things show episodes, but I have to show it to you now. This is a catalogue from, I think they're owned by somebody else, so it's not as like super gorgeous as it looks, but this is DT Brown and Co. I have nothing to do with them. It's not sponsored in any way, although DT Brown and Co, if you'd like to sponsor it, you most certainly can. But it's all laid out in like an old-fashioned style seed catalogue. But check this out. I mean, look at that. That's all vegetables and plants and stuff. Who knew there were that many? I mean, maybe a bit overwhelming, but utterly glorious. Like, I mean, really, really gorgeous. And there are tomatoes like the size of your head in here, and all sorts of different things to grow. In fact, it's made me think, actually, maybe I'm a little bit behind. Good idea, Carol. I'm going to do that. But check this out. I have to show you this I think it's called the Mad Turk turnip or something like that. It's all laid out in like the old-fashioned way of like the good old days, before we all started getting bitchy and people just decided to, you know, hawk on about things they know nothing about in the internet and like try and drag people down on social media, and before we all became miserable. And oh, I've gone off on one. Anyway, so that's my gorgeous thing. I think that's a lovely idea. Well done, Carol. You should definitely enjoy your seed thing. I've realised that I've sort of started this very tired. And with no real direction this week. Normally I've got loads of things I want to talk about. I was going to give you a code to get some money off Gusto. Because we started doing this thing. Now, I love cooking. And I love food, and I love ingredients, and I love all that kind of jazz. But, I don't know, I just kind of... Oh, wait, hang on. Michelle's cross-stitching a birth sampler for her grandson. What? What's a birth sampler? A birth sampler? Hey? What? Like a fake baby made out of crochet? Is that so they can like practice with it ahead of time? It's not like a birth sampler, is it? Like a crocheted placenta or something? I would like some more information on the birth sampler, please, Michelle. I don't know what that is, and I'm not entirely... My mind's going places I'm not comfortable with it going. Jill's on one now. She's gone off on one. I used to make you cake, she says. Not my fault you gave to a special doggy. Hey? That doesn't make sense either. Is it me? Am I having a stroke or something? What are you lot on today on a Sunday? Anyway, Carol, thanks you. We've always got somebody, the voice of reason. Thanks, Carol. Bring everybody back. She did a seed and seedling swap in lockdown. See, those sorts of things can carry on. I was desperate to get that up and running for this year, but it is different. Kath, tell me, is this always like this? She says she loves DT Brown's catalogue. Is this just like a one-off special, or is this how they're always like? And also, are they any good? Because I've never ordered from them. So am I going to be really disappointed? Is it all a bit sort of rubbish, or are they, you know, do they actually grow? Let's have a little look. So here we go. Finally, God, I was hoping for the Michelle's. It has his name and date of birth and weight on. I think we should change that. I mean, that just sounds like a memorial. No, memorial's not a good thing. What is it? Like a? It's a blanket, like a celebration blanket or a birth. I think we just need to get rid of sampler. Maybe not even a birthing blanket, because that sounds, again, like you'd lay it down like an Inco pad or something. So definitely not that either. But that's quite cute. You know, pop their name and date of birth and the weight on it. Oh, cute. You know what we should do? Hey, Mark will get involved in this. Mark does these really cool temperature blanket things. You stitch a panel for every day, is that right, Mark, or a week or something like that? Depending on the temperature, there's a different colour, and so you get this amazing kind of patchwork of colours that reflect the different various temperatures in the month. But no, it's not the right word. You're absolutely right. But if you we could do that every year for us. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? If everybody had a different, so have your name and date of birth so it would prove it was you, but your weight on, that would be interesting. So like Mark's temperature thing every month, we could do one with our weights. I can see this isn't going to get much uptake. And go, oh yes, look how young and fit I used to be. Now look, we're all crying to our blankets and go, how much in 12 months? Mark says it has all different samples of stitches on. Oh, that's why it's a sampler blanket. Oh, I see. I think it's the birth sampler thing that just doesn't work for me. It doesn't, it's like that. I've got flashbacks of delivering babies in stairwells in blocks of flats and stuff, and it doesn't. I'm like, oh, here comes a birth sampler. Would you like to keep it? You could stitch his name and date of birth on it. Oh, see, Carol again. Carol should do this with me. I sort of feel like it'd be like doing it with a therapist. She'd just look at me all the time, tut and roll her eyes and go, ugh. It's called a sampler because it was a way of demonstrating stitches. Girls used to produce them to show their needlework skills. Amazing. So, Lucy says she's just logged in late. She has no idea what's going on here. Welcome to my world, Lucy. Pretty much every day I wake up, I get in the shower, I can make a cup of tea, I get dressed and go, I don't really know what's going on here. And then I make a video of it and you all sit and watch it. This is like Gogglebox for the misguided. That's what it is. Mark's gone off on one now, telling me off it's not a blanket, it's cross stitch. If I want a birth sampler blanket, Mark, I'll have one. All right. So, no, I wish you'd never mentioned it as well, Michelle. I'm going to be honest. But what a lovely thing to a birth commemoration blanket. If you've arrived late and wondering what we're talking about, I'm talking about a birth commemoration blanket that is incorrectly and misguidedly historically called sorry, a birth sampler blanket. Shall we move on? I think we should. So, I love cooking. I love fresh ingredients, I like all that kind of stuff, but life's a bit hectic at the minute. There's an awful lot going on. So it's quite nice during the week, actually, that I just get gusto. I'm not sponsored by Gusto, so, you know, there's HelloFresh and... God, this stuff's lethal. I think you'll be all right. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. People turning it down go, what's going on? Or was it Sarah that was saying earlier on that she's diabetic? I can't believe it. Yeah, I think you'll be all right, Sarah. Cake's lethal. Maybe I should just have some more. Yeah. And there's another one, Mindful Chef or something like that. Anyway, I've tried them all. Gusto seems to be the most consistent. They use the best packaging and stuff. And it's really cool. During the week, I can just, you know, I don't have to go anywhere to get ingredients. I know I've got the right stuff. It's different every night. I can mix it up a bit. I can choose specific recipes for, you know, like high fat, low fat, protein, carbs, whatever diet you happen to be on. It's really cool. And then at the weekend, I get to cook whatever I want. It's like a little treat. I just go out and get a few things. It's really cool. So I've got a discount code, special code for you all. But I forgot to do the QR code. So next week, I will make sure I do that and you can have that. So that'd be nice. Mark's abandoned his temperature blanket after all of that. A colour I was using went out of stock. Oh man, I love the idea it has to be a particular thing. I think I may have to have a word with your mum and then make you a birth sampler. Oh my gosh, you can try. My mum doesn't talk to me anymore. Don't know what happened there. Family, eh? I've given up on it all, to be honest, Jill. Matthew says he's just done a week of HelloFresh. Okay, gave me some new ideas, but more importantly, gave me time. Took the focus away from shopping everything. Exactly, right? I quite like it. And look, it's not the most amazing food you've ever tried. HelloFresh, I think, is one of the cheaper ones. So it's good value for money. But there was just tons of plastic and just unnecessary stuff. And also, I found it was a bit inconsistent. Yeah, I'm not really quite sure whether it was the best one. I think there were others. But it's a great thing, isn't it? Just you kind of like free your time up. It kind of makes you realise what other things you've got going in your life that actually are, you know, that you find are too difficult to do. And then you look back in time and look at like what your grandma used to do and your grandparents and possibly even your parents when they were younger as well, before we had what we've got. It reminds me of that amazing story. So here's this, Mark says it's all the ladybirds you released in her house. Might be why she doesn't talk to me. Maybe, I don't know. I'll probably never know because she doesn't talk. So I don't know. Years and years and years ago when TV first came out, I think it was the 1950s, I think, when television was released in America. And there was this huge pushback against it. And formerly, people said, well, it's just a fad. People aren't going to find the time to watch television because we're all too busy. Like the men are off their way to work and the women are at home cooking and cleaning and providing for their families and we listen to the wireless, an hour or an hour or two in the evening, and we can listen to the wireless at work or while we're cooking clean. No one's going to have the time to sit down and sit in front of a television and not do anything but watch TV. And it's really interesting. But if you fast forward to 2000, and I think it was 2015, the data showed that the average American watches 8 hours of television a day. And just yesterday, I was having a conversation with somebody who was saying, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get time to do this thing that she wanted to do. And I said, if you want to do it, you'll find time for it. We've all got the same amount of time in the day. It's just what we do with it. But we have different pressures now, don't we? And social media is a different pressure. And the amount of hours you must waste on social media is untrue. Not wasted if you're spending it on my YouTube, of course. But it makes you realise, doesn't it, that actually, years ago, they cleaned the house top to bottom, they mended their own clothes, they went shopping, they cooked, they tended to vegetables in the garden because they grew their own stuff, they went off on walking expeditions, they did so much more. And now, hang on, it's the same amount of time. Where is that time going? And actually, we do things easier now. We've got computers that can do stuff really quickly, and I can access information much quicker. I don't have to go to a library to find something, to come back. I don't have to sit for 30 minutes writing a letter to somebody and wait and come back. So how on earth have we used up all of our time to the point that, as Matthew quite rightly says, and I myself also find the same thing, that I'm just a bit tired and I've got too much going on to think about cooking dinner. And it's a wonderful opportunity for somebody to kind of do 50% of it for me. But I don't know, just kind of odd. Lucy says, I'm always up for new ideas, but don't use those boxes a lot. It's actually, if there's only one of you, almost find I've got more leftovers and end up wasting stuff. Yeah, when I was single, I did it. And it was quite handy for dates, although I did feel a bit cheap. But you've got stuff for lunch, although you've got, the repetition. But I did find that you could freeze a lot of it, and that was quite nice because you could sort of keep a bank of it. Oh wow, Michelle's granny made butter when she was little. Oh, here's a cool thing. If you want to make butter, you know how to, I might be teaching you to suck eggs here, but which don't do that because you could choke. But why would you ever suck eggs? Who sucked eggs and then made a phrase out of it? And what did they think they were doing at the time? It's a bit like the first person that ever milked a cow. You sort of think, I don't know. Alan, step away from just leave the cow. All right. Coincidental that tastes nice and is probably useful, but we need to talk about the sort of what was going on in your mind when you first approached the herd. Anyway, so my point being this: butter, milk in a Kilner jar or some sort of sealed jar, and you shake and shake and shake and shake and shake and shake and shake. It takes loads of shaking. It's a really cool thing to do with kids. I think I've said about this before, haven't I? And then it splits. And so then you start to see the fat, so you see it's not white anymore, there's yellow in it, and you shake and shake and shake and shake and shake. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll do it next week. And you shake and shake and shake and shake and shake and shake, and eventually it's just like someone switches a switch, it goes like that, and it's like solid. And it's really cool. It's a really cool thing to do. Obviously you need to use full fat milk. Sarah says, as a single mum who works full time, I love the sound of HelloFresh. Anything means I don't have to think is great. It's the thinking thing. It just takes you the capacity, gives you a little bit more kind of free headspace. And I like it. But I will give you the code next week for Gusto. It's really good. Carol says it's expensive if you live alone and you have to eat the same thing 2 days running. That is the challenge. You're absolutely right. Hey, but if you create your little community, maybe there's a friend and you could go halves and you can take it in turns to cook. Or if there's an elderly person nearby, you could cook for them and they get half your meal with you. Kath says you can watch TV and cross stitch. I'll take it. Take your word for that. Matthew was paying people to do the things I enjoy because I needed to work to pay for them. Yeah, and that becomes, I think, not self-rewarding, a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where you don't think about actually what you're doing. You think, hang on a minute, this is crazy. The balance is all wrong. And if there's something that clicks, that tips you over the edge and thinks, hang on a minute, I just need to change the way my life is balanced. As you all know, we are big fans of that here at Sunday Elevenses. Wait, there's another one. Lucy says, big fan of Too Good To Go app. Magic bags to use up stuff. I think I'm gonna find a link to a keyboard typing English phrase software and try and get you all a day's use of it for free so that I know what's going on inside your squirrely little brains. Was it when you used to blow a raw egg out of a tiny hole to decorate the shell, you wouldn't want to suck the egg? Oh, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. So Too Good To Go, the idea is it's food that's almost going to go out of date. Is that the idea? And then they bag it up and go, here you go, that's, I don't know, £2.50 or something for all of that stuff. It's like nearly used by date or something, is it? You guys are such teasers. You say like half a thing and then move on. And also with the delay, I feel like I'm always behind. I feel like that guy at the party is always overhearing stuff. Like you've all had the conversation. Someone goes, so what was that? Were you talking? Oh, well, we were talking about, and then you have to have the whole conversation all over again. And then someone goes, oh, what was that? And you're like, oh, for crying out loud. All right, that's enough. Oh, Sarah's got a local cafe that has shelves of short-dated stock from the local food shops that are free to everyone. I think that's gorgeous. And you know what? Historically, we found, certainly there have been lots of psychology experiments and sort of, stunts and stuff. I'm just crumb fingering down here, that have shown that reciprocity and the act of kindness is not as abused as people think it is. Time and time again, like the top CEO of a company might say, here's my personal home number. If you've got a really serious problem and you can't resolve it, I want to know about it, call me. And loads of CEOs won't do that because I think they're getting inundated with calls, but you don't. You get people respect it and they treat it. And if you put some stuff on the side that says, here, this stuff's for free, then generally people don't abuse it. And of course you'll get bad humans. We get bad humans everywhere. There are idiots everywhere. That's okay, because for the majority of people, they will, accept what you're doing. I think that's just a wonderful thing. Donna's not heard of it either, so there. Mark. Kath, you can't just do things like that. Kath and Lucy are now refusing to explain what the hell's going on. Hang on a minute, what happened to this dynamic? This is Sunday Elevenses live with Jez Rose, not Sunday. Not like, I feel like I'm just like clicking host and now I've been pushed out. What happened there? This is wrong. Sarah, thank you. I'm correct. For £3 you can get 12 quid worth of food a couple of days before. Great. So you could freeze it as well then. Carol's got a local charity called Still Good Food. Or are you saying it's Still Good Food? All donated from stores or farmers. Paper bag, choose what you want and pay what you can. I think that's gorgeous. The pay what you can thing is lovely because actually, psychologically speaking, paying for something and actually trying to fit within a normal structure that's accepted socially is much more important than the feeling of being given handouts. And most of the people who need the assistance and need the help don't want to be a burden. They don't want to feel like they're a charity case. So giving people the opportunity to say, pay what you want. And if what you want is 4 pence, it's the act of saying, well, I've given something. And I think that's really, really lovely. Really, really lovely. So fab stuff. Well, so maybe that kind of brings us to the sort of closing point, I suppose, this week, gang, which is that, sometimes things don't go to plan. And when they don't go to plan, that could very often be because we've taken our eyes off of what's happening. As Matthew quite rightly said earlier, that sometimes you realise you're in a position in life where you think, hang on a minute, how on earth did I get here? This balance all feels wrong. And we have the opportunity to recorrect that balance. But that goes sort of hand in hand, I suppose, also with us thinking about how our relationship exists with other people as well. And that it might well be that this week you extend a little olive branch or something within your local community, and that could be that maybe you've got a HelloFresh meal that's for 2 people and you're only the one, and you give half of it, package it up and give it to somebody who might want it. Or maybe as a softer introduction, you bake a cake or you bake a big lasagna, slightly bigger meal, just a little bit more than you can afford, or soup, super cheap and easy and lovely and really wholesome. you go and gift it to someone as an act of generosity and expect nothing back in return. Because if a few Sunday Elevenses people did that, or whatever your interpretation of it is, it would make your street and vicariously little pockets of the country a much better place to be. I think it's a really nice idea. Think on that. See if there's anything you can do. I'm going to have a little think here and see what there is community-wise. Because, you know, I remember driving through Milton Keynes once. Huge, you know, the newest city in England. Huge space. And I found out that there is more child poverty in Milton Keynes than anywhere else in the country. But you just don't know it's there. Because it's all hidden behind, you know, leafy, lovely suburbs and trees and stuff. And it's very hidden. So it's probably a lot closer to home. People struggling a little bit to think, oh, how can we, you know, make ends meet, or how can we have good food this week, or feel fed and nourished. And perhaps a gift of soup or something that could be frozen, even cake can be frozen, might well help somebody out. And I know that's the sort of thing that we do. So listen, gang, you have a wonderful week this week, whatever you're up to. I hope it's wonderful. And thanks for joining me. Perhaps next week we'll re-establish the balance and I'll take control. I just might, need to get a little forceful with one or two of you. Have a good day. Hey, happy Sunday. Nothing like a hot cup of tea